Hey everyone, welcome to the Meaningful Revolution podcast. I am your host and certified high performance coach, Shawn Buttner. We are wrapping up this year with the end of the year strong lining of episodes. And in this particular episodes, we're going to do 5 more questions to help you prep for the end of the year. And honestly, this is setting up for a very exciting new thing that I have for y'all, which is my free 3-day challenge called your free 3-day challenge to create your personal meaningful revolution. And so that's what we're going to talk about today is how can we set up for that particular challenge. But I also wanted to talk to you what I've found out what a personal meaningful revolution is. So if you're not sure what that is, we'll define that today. But ultimately, personal meaningful revolution, this all started years ago when I started to joke around with my friends about New Year's resolutions and calling them revolutions. I was tired of these like smart goals that were dumb, that really were neglected because they weren't really inspiring, right? Smart goals are great and I used them a lot when I was in corporate America. But specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goals are great to an extent, right? They miss a huge thing, and that is to aim big, to think bigger, because they're not really inspirational. Honestly, if you are stuck on a project and you have smart goals to make the project get solved, you're like, so what, right? But if you're thinking about, I'm going to get into the best health of my life so that I'm there for my family, I'm going to grow my business by a factor of 5. I'm going to solve this really hard problem. And I don't necessarily know exactly how it is, but I have an idea of how I can show up. That's the personal meaningful revolution, right? I want to be the best parent. I want to accelerate my career. So it's a dramatic transformation that focuses on reducing distractions, eliminating busy work, getting out of burnout. Because in burnout's really, it happens when you're not inspired or the people around you aren't inspired. Gets you out of feeling stuck and into really focused and flow type work tasks, meaningful activities or your life's work. We're talking about actually having an impact with the things that you're doing in your health, in your career, in your relationships and well-being. It's feeling like you're progressing and getting better at life as a human being. So that's what when I talk about your personal meaningful revolution, that's what I'm talking about. I want you to feel like you're having an impact, you're growing, and you're working on meaningful things. So, how do we move away from distractions, busy work, burnout, and stagnation, and move into that focus, those meaningful endeavors, that impact and growth? It's really reflection on our habits and actively making changes going forward. Go through the frameworks and we'll rate ourselves on this assessment. And this is actually something that went out to all of my personal meaningful revolution challenge folks earlier today, right? If you still want to join that challenge for free on January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you can hit the link below or in the show notes where you're watching this or go to meaningfulrevolution.com/challenge. So the first 3 assessments we're going to do on a scale of 1 to 10. So, okay, let me go through the rules. The rules are on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high. You're going to rate yourself on the scale for each of these questions. And then if you want to do some bonus work, add 3 keywords or phrases on why you gave yourself that number. Okay. And the first part of the prep for this challenge, I think it'll really help you really get your mind wrapped around the end of the year, as I've been working through this myself, is the CIA model that I have for the personal meaningful revolution. And that is, how did you do on your community this year? Are you facilitating community with authentic impact? The I is impact. Are the things you doing having an impact this year? And then are you showing up authentically? And the actual questions to rate yourself on: number one, how are you facilitating community with authentic impact? Scale of 1 to 10. Two, did you do things on a day to day basis that had impact? Scale of 1 to 10. And then, did you show up authentically for your values and yourself throughout this past year, right? Scale of 1 to 10. And whatever comes up for you is fine. And in this challenge, we're actively going to be brainstorming and figuring out how to improve these scores for yourself. So if you're not happy with the number you gave, or you did great and you're like, where do I go from here? That's why you're going to want to go and join that challenge. That allows us to then course correct or then figure out the new path forwards. So I love that these set of questions. The second question to think about for yourself is, in this past year, did you learn how to live better? And this is one of my mentors, Brendan Burchard, calls this the thunder question. And I love this end of year reflection question because it really gets you thinking about all the different areas of your life, your career, your relationships, your health, and your well-being. Like, did you learn how to live better? Did you learn how to show up and be a better human, to be kinder, to add more value, to have more financial security, or whatever that means to you? Because it could mean a lot of different things. But how did you learn to live better? And I would rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 again, and then do those 3 words or phrases, because it just helps you qualify that number and help it sit. But then ultimately, you're going to want to know, how do you live better next year, right? It all will come from reflecting on that question. The third thing I have for you that my mentor, Patrick Mosher, shared with us this past week is, what were the 3 major learnings you had this year? And then the step after that is, how can you take those 3 learnings and work it into your plan going next year? And I think that's really powerful. But just having the space to think that, for me, I learned, very quickly in my business, I learned that I can interview strangers for the podcast. So not only just my friends, and it can go okay. I learned a personal lesson to not hire friends. I tried hiring someone I knew from college earlier this year, and it really went sideways for a number of different things. But how I thought hiring was going to go definitely wasn't the case. So definitely need to learn and figure out, as I bring people onto the team next year, how to better sort and better judge if people will be a good fit for my organization. Third big thing that I learned this past year in Meaningful Revolution is just coming up with this CIA framework, right? Community, impact, and authenticity. I've noticed in the conversations that these were 3 power questions. When I can get to them, usually open up the conversation, or I can sense the energy and change with the guests. So that's the model that I'm working with now for this podcast and my brand. So pretty exciting stuff. But what were your 3 learnings from this year in your business, personally, in the areas of your life I think could be really powerful? And I like this question because we're on a podcast called The Meaningful Revolution. What 3 wins furthered your personal meaningful revolution this past year? Meaning, 3 words or 3 things that happened to you that were meaningful, that helped you live into the authentic vision you had for your life, helped you have an impact out in the world, or helped build your community of authentic, impactful people. And it's okay if you can't think of 3, right? We just need to be more intentional next year if that's the case. Or if you have 3 right the way, then it's, how do we have more in this next year? How can we utilize that to further our causes even more? And then, fifth question for you: what are the 3 things that slowed your progress this year? What were the things that got in the way of showing up authentically at home, in your job, in your workouts? What are three things that slowed you down from having the impact and getting the results and the abundance that you wanted in your life this year? What are three things that prevented you from sharing your experience, sharing your cause, progressing your movement with other people? And why did those things happen, right? Because these are all indications of things you might want to change or tweak or seek out in the new year. And again, I say rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 and how authentic, how impactful, and how much you engage your community this year. We talked about, did you really learn to live better this year? The thunder question for Mr. Brendan Burchard. We talked about three major things that you learned this year, three wins that furthered your personal meaningful revolution this past year, and then finally, the three things that slowed your progress. I think this is a pretty comprehensive list to end the year with. Next week, we're going to have another episode. We're going to talk about a couple of concepts that are going to be introduced in this new 3-day challenge on January 1st. Again, you can go to meaningfulrevolution.com/challenge if you'd like to join for free. And we'll go live for 3 days. It'll be super great. I'm looking forward to engaging with y'all. I'm looking forward to creating a plan, analyzing the year, brainstorming what to do in 2024, and then building your plan and committing to it for the next year. I promise you it's going to be super simple. It's going to help you wrap your head around the habits that you should be doing each month to really accelerate your personal meaningful revolution. And I just can't wait to have you guys on. So again, sign up on that link or don't. That's fine. Do this end of year processing and let me know what you feel about that, what's coming up for you, what questions you have. Again, you can always email me at support@ShawnButtner.com and we'll answer your questions. I love hearing from y'all. And so with that, have a happy last day of Hanukkah as we're releasing this episode, if you celebrate that, or we'll talk to you more over the holiday, about Christmas and the end of the year. So with that said, go out there, live with more joy, have more personal growth, and live with more impact. This is Shawn Buttner signing off.